Chavez. We are in my chow still. Leave today at 12 in a couple hours, but obviously when I get another video out, excuse the noise. Try to find a nice location. I ain't got me tripod, it's raining, noise pollution, but I got my coffee, so I'm good. Back show, 10 out of 10 recommend. Best coffees I've ever had. Also, top of my head's being cropped off because I'm propped up on a flipping condiments box. But anyway, I thought let's go with what's the word now? Covert versus overt. So in life, everything that becomes known or felt, you decide or you decipher to what extent that knowledge is going to be passed on or withheld. So think about anything, think about corporations, they're either public or private. Think about religions, they either advocate for people to join or they sort of make it more challenging for you to join. For example, Judaism versus Christianity and Islam, which are more promote themselves. So this applies across every domain because on a personal level, people see life as games, as zero-sum games, as transactional. Okay, what can I get from you? And what do I have to give you in order to get that from you? There's a lot of deceit in life. If you go into the Bible, the original sin was deceit by the serpent. Now, for me, transparency is important. If you want a relationship, what's the most important thing? It's communication. We are constrained by our language, but when you can understand nuance and how to articulate yourself and how to have emotional intelligence, so the words you use, how to convey things, how to display humility, how to read people emotionally in the eyes, in the body language, and obviously all them things compound over time to paint a picture. Now, there's social structures. For example, the majority of the world is monogamous, and so we see things as being tight-knit, as in my business is my business, your business is your business. I hope you can hear me. We also have this in-group, out-group bias from our evolution, whereby we make assessments of who's a part of us and who's not a part of us. Now, the good thing is perception is broadening, and that is the key. Perception is broadening through knowledge transfer, more trust, more compassion, and that's how you open your eyes. See, most people, not even most people, everyone has the eyes wide shut. You would keep something covert if you have fear. There's a lot of fear in the subconscious, and that would equate to you keeping something covert. That's the most logical explanation, which is perfectly reasonable. To which the antidote to that is compassion. Self-compassion, but also compassion to everything that you deem not a part of you. People who express things overtly because they have a more open heart, are more susceptible, more vulnerable. You ever heard the saying, taking kindness for weakness? That is very applicable and it happens a lot in society. It's top to bottom exploitation, indirectly and directly, inadvertently. As self-protection. But I have picked a noisier road than this one. So, the spread of information gives us the narrative, gives us our meaning, sense of meaning, gives us our sense of belonging, and to what extent, tells us what is important and what is not important, tells us how we should act, how we should think, how we should feel. Now, the narrative, everything that is, there's a scientific term, it's phenomenon is the something happening, and noumenon, I think, is these things we call things, right, which is symbols, which are represented in all the industries. So media, including the toy industry, including social media, including television, including film, consumerism, think appliances, think furniture, think anything material. It's given a monetary value. Think agriculture, think tobacco and all its offshoots, which is just any substance essentially. Think oil, think pharmaceuticals. All these things have stemmed from misunderstanding. And we get misunderstanding, or misunderstanding continues, it ensues because of distrust, because of fear in the subconscious, which is most of the subconscious is fear. Because of our actions as humans, we perpetuate fear, okay? Look how we treat all of these animals in the world. They're not separate from us, they are a part of our emotional spectrum. They are embodiments, largely, of emotions, of which we are a part of, being the species with the most variable emotions. They are a part of us. But we don't see that because we see the symbolism, we think seeing is believing, and we lose the compassion. Denial of anything, denial of truth, occurs, especially today, denial and overwhelm when there's too many inputs. And so maybe you distance yourself, maybe you find silence, maybe you find solitude, maybe you find serenity in being able to think for yourself, being able to think critically, being able to be compassionate for yourself. We're so intertwined socially that hurt people. Misunderstandings are compounded exponentially. I go into any big city and everyone's walking around with a face like a slapped ass. And there's negative energy. It's hedonistic, consumeristic, materialistic. Spirit's dead. It's too much mind. The mind is a factor of curiosity. Curiosity is foundational. Compassion is what makes us us. This is like level 2, okay? Look at all the mammals, all compassionate, all hardwired that way because we have young that are dependable on us. Our offspring are dependable on us, so it's hardwired that way. But that doesn't separate us from the serpent, from the snake, from the lizard. They're still a part of us. They're still a part of us. I believe they are the ego of which we adopt, which again is not negative or positive. It's powerful, but it's useful, but it's that's the very thing that gives you this covert versus overt awareness or protection. That's what it is. The ego is what gives you the covert versus overt protection. When you realize everything is mutually beneficial, positive sum game, but people use their mind way too much. People lead with their mind as a defense mechanism from hurt, from pain, from fear, from ignorance. And I believe that surrender, which all the religions, everything will tell you, reality, life will tell you, but it's depicted in another way. Surrender is depicted as submission. Surrender is depicted as hopelessness, as giving up, as meekness, as weakness. But in reality, it's trusting your true nature, which is beyond the ego. We're not lizards, we're not reptiles. Our higher order is mammalian. Is that the word? Mammalian? It's compassion. I'll let you look at the view for a minute. Little bit cloudy, but the landscape is stunning, and I hope you like the drip as well. Got it from popping buttons now. Got it from a little market stall. I think the best fashion is authentic. Comes from these little places. I don't buy into mass market, and it has more meaning to it, you know. Do you reckon how we treat others, we treat ourselves? Whether that's animals, indirectly, directly, whether that's parents, whether that's friends, whether that's leaving people to pursue something which may ensue emotionally as guilt, as vulnerability. There's a saying by Buddha, I believe, it's holding on to anger is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. I like that one. Shout out Buddha. There's a one by Nietzsche, the philosopher, and he says, something along the lines of, hating someone else is realising you're hating yourself, or something like that. Essentially, we are projections and reflections. If you expand your awareness, which you can do through grounding, and meditation is the best way. Meditation is deeply profound. The term for the in-breath is inspiration. The term for the out-breath is aspiration. Now, you probably know first and foremost the meanings of them words to be different from the expression and the action of inhalation and exhalation. But maybe they're intertwined. Maybe inspiration and aspiration is currency. Think about it for a second. Every species on land breathes. In fact, even in the oceans, right? The whales have got the blowholes. A lot of animals come to the surface. I believe fish, don't fully understand fish. They have the gills though, and I know they process air. But maybe that's what binds us all together. Inspiration, aspiration. Maybe you don't need to do anything. Maybe you don't need to perform. Maybe you don't need to display. Maybe you don't need to try. Maybe you don't need to perform. Maybe you don't need to do. Maybe you can just be. Maybe if you just focus on your breath, you'll realize all the things you're trying to control in your life because you fear annihilation. So you do all these things. Let me pause, sorry. We do all these things, we run around like headless chickens, thinking we're something we're not. Alan Watts says the whole point is just to be alive. We all run around chasing all these meaning and all this bullshit. The whole point of life is just to survive, just be here. We're human beings, not human doings. And yet there's so much misguidance, misunderstanding, thinking we have to do. Everything is doing. I do this, I do that, I do. What do you do for work? What do you want to do when you grow up? The control is all in the breath. You just have to practice it. Get practicing a skill, just practice breathing. And initially, the mind that is just identification, it has no emotion, it's pure, very, 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 very shallow emotion, potentially, that's only linked to memory of feeling. But majority of most things are just inanimate objects, phenomena, something like that. It's just inanimate objects that we, for some reason, collect as a means of control. As I say, all in the breath. That doesn't mean make the earth, when I say the earth, I mean the physical, the material. It doesn't mean make it redundant, it's a part of life. But we make it everything. And when you make it everything, you entice intimidation. You can only be intimidated by the physical. And that's why there's so much fear in the subconscious, because think about how power was able to be exerted over others purely through intimidation, right? Whoever developed the guns first got the power, got the intimidation, got the power. Now that's just an expression of the human condition, which stemmed from misunderstanding. You may say, how can my tone be like this? First of all, to acquire wisdom, you have to have humility. A lot of people are very knowledgeable, but they're either one-dimensional, they go down one path because of the conditioning, or they don't have humility, which means they develop pride. Pride, again, because of conditioning, doesn't actually have, it's not a real thing, it doesn't actually have a meaning. All it is conclusion. And if you see my last video, I mentioned how life is inconclusive. So pride tells you you're done. Humility tells you I am not that important. When I say I, my being, my self-identification is not important. My associations and relations and connections, now that's everything. That is everything, which comes from compassion. Otherwise, you can't identify the feeling of relevant things. It just becomes plateaued, emotionless symbolism. So, covert versus overt is what makes us. It's what perpetuates distrust. Trust is the first manifestation of the mind from the heart. It's the necessary part to allow the mind to be led by the heart. People invert and project subconscious distrust because globalization as a world, I think it's a very recent thing. Okay, it's a very recent thing. The last 50 years, realistically. Obviously, you've had explorers go out in the past and whatever, colonize the world, whatever, explore, find new islands and straddle the Bering Strait, the bit between Russia and Alaska, and you've got the Indo-Americans, find new land. And exploration is the original facet of curiosity, driven by will. Our ability to climb out the tree and walk as human beings, as Homo sapiens, or not even Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, whatever it was, Homo erectus I believe, because then you had Neanderthals and these other humanoids, human-like things. So exploration came from that curiosity. There's a term called uncanny valley, which is essentially in-group versus out-group. If something's uncanny, you're not seeing it as part of. Oh mate, look out! You're not seeing it as part of yourself, and that stemmed from people's insecurity. Because naturally, we have a big heart, and that's compassion is rediscovering that big heart that we all have, that's connected, through quieting the mind. Now, the main symbolism is identification of people, so race, ethnicity, culture, religion, creed. That's the main manifestation of someone's psyche, and feelings, right? But misunderstanding and intolerance and closed-mindedness keeps the in-group versus out-group. It maintains fear, perpetuates distrust, perpetuates separation, differentiation. It says, you're not us, you're not me, you're uncivilized, you're deviant, whatever it may be. And it's all from intolerance. Tolerance is moderation. Moderation is consciousness, awareness, higher awareness, and security. It's balance. Now, balance is putting your attention into different pots and thinking critically. The only way you can put your attention into different pots is through compassion, being in touch with nature. What we call imagination is simply association. The only time the mind causes problems is when it's not grounded. The mind is extremely powerful, and it uses interpretation through possibility, probability, and association. Sorry, I mentioned it's association, but possibility, probability, I had something else. But there you go, that shows how susceptible the mind is, or memory is, to forgetting something, which is a representation of why we need each other. Because that's how we ground ourselves. Getting things out of the mind, which is exactly what I'm doing here, is the reason our memory is so poor, the reason our brains haven't grown in God knows how long, is because that limit, that hard limit, shows that the next evolution is connection to each other. Hello. Meow. Hello. Hello. And so, hello. That means that we have to be able to be open and to trust each other. You coming up here? Come on. Hello. There you go, unexpected star of the show. Hey, you don't be drinking my iced coffee. Look how animals are curious. Curiosity is neutral. Can I carry on filming, please, pal? Curiosity is neutral, so you'll see that is what we call God is curiosity. You're a little player, you aren't you? You're a little wander, a little explorer, innit? So, as humans, we have the best reasoning. The mind is so powerful that it's only through connecting with the heart, compassion, that we are able to order the mind. Everything's scrambled because we've led with the mind for eons. And The unfortunate thing is, hello, because we've done that, we've made the physical our reality, real. Look at Plato's allegory of the cave, right? He says there's these prisoners in a cave and they're watching shadows on the wall of the cave, and there's a fire, and they're watching a puppet show on the cave, right? Two-dimensional puppet show. And they think that is reality. One guy unshackles himself from the shackles in the cave, escapes the cave, sees the real world, goes back in and tries to tell the prisoners that what they're seeing is not reality. That's exactly what I'm saying to you now. The physical has deteriorated. We've turned the organic, the natural, the Garden of Eden, flowers, butterflies, birds. We've turned the organic inorganic. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so your inorganic has compounded through various forms. And as I say, we can, as humans, our mind is so powerful as a projection, but also as inversion and deflection. Projection, inversion, deflection. Maybe more things. You tell me. What ways can light be guided, or re-guided, or misguided? I probably ought to get myself a mic. And so through fear predominantly and its manifestations, we've made the physical that is becoming more and more inorganic. Look at climate change. That is the inorganic. That is the carbon, inorganic, physical, polluting the air. The air being our inspiration, our aspiration, our true currency, our relation to each other. But through top-down, trust-to-trickle, misguidance, misunderstanding, we've made our God, our curiosity, our currency, into something non-existent. It's just, people are like, oh, in a simulation. Is this the Matrix? Yeah, it is, of the mind. Yeah, it is. Now, when you realise, if you become the escaped prisoner, which I hope, well, which you will, because there is no you, we all will. Initially, you will face denial when you realise pain, suffering, work, chasing, stress. You realise all of that was a misunderstanding. Think about a human, right? The most powerful thing is, think how powerful compounding is, right? This is why bad things happen in life, because there's an idea ungrounded and it compounds. Momentum is so powerful. Momentum is ridiculously powerful, and so is groupthink. See, as humans, our mind is amazing individually, because different perspectives are what strengthens the mind. Do I look like Dr. Evil? Yeah, different perspectives are what strengthen the mind. And lost my trail of thought. This is the cutest cat ever. Yeah, so you find out a mind-blowing, jaw-dropping truth, and 99.99% will deny, because people like the illusion. People like the Matrix. People think that's the initial reaction, is to think as a natural defense, as a natural exploration of understanding. I'm saying don't think, just feel. Because thinking, it takes a lot of thinking to get to understanding. And it's high risk. It takes a lot of, because to train association, what we call imagination, is massively vulnerable. It's massively susceptible you see, you ever look at an animal and think they're just innocent, playful things? I look at them like babies in another form, you know? They have the soul of a baby. They're so cute. They're just curious little things, you know? I'm just exploring. Yeah. And people are bound by all these things. The initial reaction, nothing is positive, nothing is good or bad, right? Go on, you get that flag. Nothing is good or bad, but the initial reaction is gonna be fear. So don't try and think, just feel. And people are waking up because we are getting them different perspectives. See, I feel we've gained perspective with technology, wider perspective, but we've lost attention, we've lost focus, we've lost attention, which is driven by masculinity. Sharp claws, you pal. You got some sharp claws. Yeah. So self-awareness has gone up through these different perspectives. But confusion, overwhelm, and mental health has gone up because of our inability to establish order. So if you've got the self-awareness from our increased interconnectivity, then be overt. Authenticity grows with TikTok as, let's say, as the next evolution of the collective consciousness. You see authenticity, which is an expression of openness, an expression of overtness, and so people are not going to decipher thought, because you'll see that it's misunderstanding all the way down. You'll see people are trying to help. Hey. Hey. Oh, has that gone blurry? It has. You'll see that malevolence is pure misunderstanding. And it'll make you try and identify people as perpetrators of oppression, but realize that they are victims. They are perpetrators and victims. The oppressor is the oppressed. You point the finger. Remember, everything is symbolic. You point the finger. Are you gonna fall off there? You point the finger. You're pointing the finger at yourself, because I see myself in anyone and everyone throughout history. Anyone, everything, and everyone. Anyone, everyone. Basically, all it is, I can see an aspect of me in that thing, which is you can harness through compassion. And trust. I've never had a cat or any animal this trusting and curious. And I'm wondering if, they say cats have a sixth sense. I'm wondering if that is them picking up on consciousness. I don't know, me being a node of hope, perhaps. Right, I'm going to end the video because I have a limousine, as the French like to call it, but we call it it's a bus to me, but look, limousine sounds better. I have a limousine back to Hanoi, and then I head elsewhere in a couple of days, but I need to leave at 12, so I need to go pack my bags, pay up here, and say bye to this little fella. So yeah, I'll see you when I see ya. And I hope you enjoyed the video.